On balls.
Oh, that is
Bingo.
It's
Bingo.
when Boss Cass discovers that we're out to his past, he will do duel in his pants to stop you.
I want this meddling metrosexual at any cost!
Yes, sir. Right away, sir.
Okay, Ty, you ready to die?
Now I'm super sexist.
Crikey! That's the name of the second boss. And fun fact, it's also a polite Australian euphemism for Christ. Well, polite by Australian standards, anyway. We've already done enough deep lore theorizing for now, so I won't ponder the implications of that. Unlike Bull, oh yeah, that was the pig's name, Bull, I don't know. This fight is really easy, but it might take you a minute of looking and fiddling around to figure out what you're doing. Okay, first of all, smash one of the chum bins. It'll drop a bucket into the water that'll distract the shark. You might think he's vulnerable, but don't waste your time. What you need to do is dive in and swim to the bottom. Whack one of the submerged oxygen tanks to make it surface, somehow. And then, oh, what am I doing? You're not here for a walkthrough, that's not my format. You're here to watch me pretend I understand video games better than I do and spurg out about random crap. You know how games of the 2000s could get a little bit, for lack of a better term, off themselves at times? Well, Tav's basically the opposite of that, and in both ways it could be. It makes Sonic Adventure's English localization look like a work of G.K. Chesterton, and it makes Banjo look like hatred. To put it bluntly, Ty has too little drama for its own good. Despite the characters all being super fun and charming, nothing ever happens to any of them that ain't resolved before you hit the next loading screen. Like here we are, blowing the mind control armor off a giant cyborg shark. In a more compelling game, the shark might have shown up in the first beach level as a hazard, then kidnapped a sexy platypus in a cutscene, fought us over here, and then at some point later sunk a chaos battleship or did something else to assist us. There's a distinct lack of moments in this game. Like, I get it, Sayonara Shadow the Hedgehog ain't exactly what they're going for, but I'm not even talking uber-serious melodrama. It's just uneventful overall.
You go first. You
What? No, you...
It has come to my attention that a group of racist furries is trying to obtain the talismans before me. Worse yet, one of them is a member of the smallest minority ever, and it would appear that another is a woman. You'll know what this means, right? Yeah. I think it's time for me to move on out, my king of racism.
Indeed. Oh, this rainforest is...
don't you mean
bisexual.
Bisexual.
Liar, liar, pants. Hey, wait a minute. Yeah, obviously a game of this budget from a studio of this size is going to feature some fairly heavy asset reuse. But from this point onwards, you're going to be seeing the same textures used in the same combination at the same time of day
in this part of the country, localized entirely within your kitchen.
with the same decorative foliage scattered around. Yes, there are new assets too, plenty in fact, and the last 3 levels do have their own unique gimmicks and theming shakeups, but it still kind of sucks to see in a game that leans so heavily on atmosphere, exploration, and novelty. Couldn't we at least had, I don't know, one jungle with brown ground and gray rocks, and one jungle with green ground and brown rocks? Or, I don't know, still jungle level assets, but more of a cave sort environment? Am I being productive with this criticism? Does this shed light on either the enduring cultural legacy of the game or its paradoxical... Yeah, just follow him down the path, and when he stops, be ready to do the opposite of what he says. That's cute and all, but it results in a world that's not fun, because it's a lot of long linear hallways without a ton of action or exploration. It only really opens up at the end. Before that, you just have a bunch of little equally narrow branches. You might be able to tell in the footage, but this is also the point in the game where I'm pretty over-interacting with enemies that want me to do anything slightly involved to deal with them. Mercifully, you really ain't gotta bother with them if you don't wanna. And it is pretty neat to see that even as we enter the game's recycling arc, we're still getting some funny new guys like these ninja blokes. Let's see about this Princess Orchid last. Sheila? Well, they call women down under anyway, and I'm probably about to get catfished anyway, given who set me up on this blind date. Oh, it's gonna be Lenny and Drag, ain't it? Toy. Ah, bugger, that's right, Australia ain't even have a royal family. What? That was clever. Even though I knew Lenny was a liar, I'm so used to the captive princess cliche. Look, mate, all I told him to say was that I was waiting here to fight you, and he agreed that was what we were going with. Anyway, bugger you, Todd. You know I'm real thylacine. Prepare yourself. I don't know what it is, but there's just something. Cause I'm gonna fight you, and I'm gonna kill you. Something about the complexion of this bugger until you're dead. It's making me feel a bit uncomfortable. To die. Oi, wanker, where are you from exactly, mind if I ask? First of all, my name's Sly. Second of all, I'm your brother, stupid, remember? Like, you pieced that together yourself. Oh, must be different fathers then. Oh, you saying I'm adopted, mate? No, not necessarily. You know what, never mind. So anyway, yeah, this is our first real encounter with Sly, our long-lost brother, separated at birth and brainwashed by chaos, or possibly just a natural-born bogan. He's super cool, super badass. Shadow the Hedgehog wishes he was this guy. Isabel left the Doomslayer for him. Funny choice of level. Introduce a threat of this magnitude in, but honestly it just serves to contrast and further emphasizes the rugged and dangerous mystique by setting it against the backdrop of a level that otherwise...
Welcome to the Pussy Fart.
Yeah, that's right, the one and only. Every middle-aged bachelor in this world's weird fixation. Frankly, I don't see what's so special about it. The other one's bigger. Our theme and shake-up for this one is brush fires. The clash of elements here presents an opportunity for yet another subtle naughty joke, but honestly, that last one kinda did it for me, and I think I'm good for the rest of the video. It really tempted me to make it, because not one but two primary objectives here involve children being a huge worry and a huge nuisance. That's neither here nor there.
Oh, Tar, children certainly can be a handful, but I think we both know who can be an even bigger nuisance and an even bigger worry, don't we?
You know, I don't know quite what it is today. Maybe it's just the stress finally catching up with me, but I really am not in the mood to put up with the usual shit from you blimmin' blue-skinned bastards!
Yes, Tar, kill them. Kill them all. Kill the blueies. Feel the raw strength that racism gives ya. Whoever said blue laws mattered anyway? Nobody likes bluey adults.
Oh, I hate this limit show. It's so f***ing stupid. Stop quoting it, stop quoting it, stop quoting it. Huh? What you doing? Oh, mate, I was, why mass murdering the blue people with your translucent gorilla stand, huh? Oh, it ain't that they're blue. No, I mean, I'm not, like, racist. They just wouldn't stop quoting Bluey. Yeah, that's gotta be why. That came over me. But I didn't hear him quoting Bluey at all, Todd. But, like, you can't say you'd be surprised if they did, right? But I'm secretly another turkey! Come to think of it, though, I don't think I recall a single adult joke in the actual game. Maybe they just don't want to play completely to their stereotype, and I'm not someone who absolutely worships at the altar of hidden sex jokes, but this game really could use anything to spice up its comedic writing. While the characters are all incredibly charming with their cute designs, enthusiastic performances, and endearingly rough modeling, the actual line writing and pacing is a bit...
But he left pirating to try something even more cutthroat.
Like what?
Teaching.
Oh, what are you waiting on? A lull in the applause? Rex marks the spots, probably the level
Anyway,
most like its
legend
original... most like its original counterpart. Its islands in the open ocean now instead of a beach, and the theme is pirate treasure hunt. There's a neat little volcano segment
Are you an adult Bluey fan, or are you not a
where...
Just a monkey in the rain! Going to the dinner summit! Offended!
Anyway.
As well as this minigame where you throw boomerangs at a giant octopus's arms to distract it for your Play-Doh buddies. But, I don't know. It's hard to put it into words, but you can sort of tell this is where the creative juices were starting to run thin. Maybe it's that bittersweet feeling of a single-player game you've enjoyed but had about enough of for now, winding down right on schedule. Maybe it's genuine fatigue with the formula. Yeah, it's probably bad, honestly. Maybe it's just that it's the very last normal level I finished before the big climactic finale. This one felt a little hollow. So instead of the level itself, let's talk about all that. The Tasmanian Tiger is the very definition of a start-strong type adventure. It's got a great sense of place and atmosphere, a lovable if simple cast of characters, fun gameplay, beautiful art, and satisfying sound design. What it also has is a very repetitive format, a shallow bag of tricks, a shallower difficulty curve, and a skill ceiling that a gerbil could play limbo with. It has too much going for it to say it fails as a game, but what it does fail as is a, at the time, full-price AAA experience. It takes about as long as any Mario or Crash title, but in the time that it takes those to even start picking up, Ty's already blown through its limited gameplay depth and challenge concepts. Now sure, the first AAA Australian game ever made was probably never going to attain the popularity in Nintendo franchises that had already been running for 20 years at the time. Let's hang up our scalpels a minute anyway, the first of these games ain't even over yet. So Fluffy, this boss had me a bit confused. Part of that's me being stupid, part of it's the design itself being a bit unclear. So here's the me being stupid part. It for some reason took me several minutes to realize, hey dummy, use a first-person aim to aim at the parts you aren't hitting. I feel like the Flamerang was already hitting some flammable bits even without that and having no effect, but let's disregard that and say, should have occurred to me anyway. Next phase starts and I immediately start trying to find some way to damage the boss with my frosty rangs. After all, try fire and then ice, as whoever said.
You should try a two-pronged attack. Maybe fire, then ice.
Am I supposed to freeze the joints? These pops on the back? Put out all the fire vents at once? No, what you're supposed to do, of course, is throw your flamerangs through the fire vents. This makes them flamier ranks and for some reason causes them to explode on contact with the boss. But of course, how silly of me. Everyone knows that burning wood plus more fire equals wood that explodes when it touches metal. When they told you to try hitting the boss with fire and then ice, they meant try using fire for the entire first two phases, and then ice for phase 3. Wouldn't really call that a two-pronged offensive, would ya? For some reason, this is the simplest part of the entire fight, too. You just whack it repeatedly with frosty rangs till it robo-dies. That's the downside of these puzzle-type bosses. If you're a small studio without much QA department, you just gotta kinda hope your logic makes as much sense to your players as it does to you. The sexy lizard then pops back out of the top of his head, try saying that 3 times fast to strangers at the bus stop, and tells you that we're not so different, you and I, and in another life we could have been besties, and yada yada. Then she just kinda catapults herself 2 kilometers in the air and 30 miles into the distance, never appearing again in this game. Like I said, nothing ever happens here. Nothing ever matters, does it?
I see you have retrieved the third Venus. Do not become a coon.
As you'll know, I need all of the talismans if I'm to open the portal to the dreaming. I may have sealed all but 2 of the Tasmanian tigers inside, but that is no longer enough. If I'm to become the king, no the emperor of racism, I need to go back inside and finish the job. Kill every last one of them. Personally. What about me? Oh, don't worry, I'm going to make you an honorary avian. You'll need to wear this costume at all times, of course, but otherwise you'll be treated as a respected member of the Bird Reich.
No one has ever come...
Really? No.
Seymour!
Dingo, 20 years old and has spent her entire existence in Southern Rivers.
No, Mother, it's just...
Shaza, she is known for being an expert in mechanics and is often referred to as having the gift of mechanical hands because of her natural ability to fix things. Shaza, or her real name Sharon, is Ty's girlfriend. The two of them share a very powerful and unbreakable bond, and she is willing to go to any lengths for him. The game demonstrates that she is not at all defenseless and is capable of fending for herself against those who wish to cause her harm. She always has a plasma rifle on her person that Julius created for her with a little system supply and is capable of zapping and firing a thrill with ease in a single shot. However, in the event that nothing else works, she is well versed in martial arts and has become quite skilled in the practice thanks to the help of Ty and his companions. She even possesses her very own...
Good Lord, Seymour! I was just, You know, the...
So the game's not over yet, but it basically is. There are only 2 levels left, and instead of open collectathon stages, they're basically the game's flaccid attempts at challenge gauntlets. Since the platform is basic, the health, life, and info systems are generous, and the game never introduced any dangerous enemies that demand your attention, there really ain't a ton they could have done with this concept. If anything, it's more of a victory lap than the big deadly climax Maury's hyping it up as. Wait a minute. Shaza? What's she doing all the way out here? I wouldn't call her a damsel in distress archetype necessarily, but she's been about as reliant on Ty as everyone else throughout the rest of the adventure. We've had to save her from 2 of the game's most basic enemy types after all. How did she beat me to the midpoint of this trap-laden, crocodile-infested, fully garrisoned, super dangerous, terrible, horrible place in which no one who entered has ever returned? I can't help but feel some kind of mini-arc must have been lost among the game's many, many cuts.
The games demonstrate that she is not at all defenseless and is capable of fending for herself against those who wish to cause her harm.
Really? Yes.
In the event that nothing else works, she is well versed in martial arts and has become quite skilled in the practice thanks to the help of Tai and his companions. She even possesses her very own battle bunya for use in battles that are more open and chaotic.
I see.
Who dares disturb my slumber?
Well, Seymour? No.
What are you trespassers doing in my cave?
You little ripper!
What are you
Oi, look on me lady, you hog-nosed creep.
I'm trying. I actually wanted to drop her in the lava, but she's like stuck to me. But this thing never unsettled by Lorenzo.
Wait, we don't know, actually, but be nice to her. Yeah, believe it or not, even 3 circles deep into recycling hell, they managed to pull out a unique mini-boss for the victory lap.
Wrong.
I mean, it's not a particularly impressive boss, you just hit 3 switches to scald her to death. Okay, I think you're starting to see why I thought the game wanted me to kill that lobster. Goodness grouse ass.
I gotta remember, like, include some instances of Ty saying all stupid text everybody.
Ah, so there you are, you little orange. I've heard about your racist outbursts against my worthless blue underlings, and as impressed as I am, I simply cannot allow you to continue. By hating all mammals, I am already the most racist person to ever live, but I can have no competitors in my quest to become the god of racism.
You calling me racist, mate? I'm not like you. I'll never be like you. I'll just happen to really, really hate that one severely overrated TV cartoon.
Ah, there's one thing that disgusts me more than a person with no racial prejudices. It is someone who has the power but refuses to embrace it. We'll see how egalitarian you're feeling after I shower you black with my cross-burning cannon array.
So while Cass may be a lot more blatantly hateful than I remember him in the videos I've seen, he's still a pretty easy fight. His flamethrower turrets have a much shorter range than the particle effects it imply. Freeze them with your frosty rang, then bite them with your body bite. After they're all destroyed, the force field on his panel goes down. Smash through, run down a short gauntlet to the main reactor, and go absolutely sicko mode on it. Don't be fooled into running off to find another weak point once the glass tubes are shattered, because for whatever reason, every stage of damage you do to one of the fuses gets its own objective tally.
Ty! You need this! Sly! What are you doing?
Your mother?
After I did you? Lol. You're a slut. I'm gonna make you pay for that. Pew pew!
I'll give the gamepad cells this one. It'd probably be a lot easier to navigate using an analog stick, but either way, I got it second try with a bit of a close call. And with that, Cass is defeated once and for all, and we can finally reunite Ty with his parents.
It's not funny! It's never been funny! It's never gonna be funny!
Bonza!
The talismans are back where they belong. order is back where they belong, and chaos has been back where they belong. All thanks to you, Ty the Tasmanian Tiger.
The quest for Pete.
Horero. 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 No problem, mate. I'm just...
Back where they belong. That's not funny!
Oh, I think you might be forgetting something, mates.
Translucent red gorilla Stan, what are you doing here?
Yeah, that'd be a good name for me, I guess. It's about time you start calling me by my real name. Racist, feminist, translucent gorilla.
No, that's impossible. My own Stan, a racist. Oh, not just a racist, but the soon-to-be former god of racism. That's right, everything has gone according to my plan. The whole world conquest plot, a red herring. I know that if all the talismans were assembled, the god of racism wouldn't be able to resist coming out. And now that he is here in the flesh, I can destroy him and take his place as the most racist being to ever exist!
Ultimate Supreme, Sexism Blaster, firing sequence initiated. T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Trigger warning. Total mansplaination inbound.
What? That was the most sexist weapon ever devised by orders of magnitude!
Oh, Cass. You underestimate both my feminism and my racism. You'll never, ever be 100th racist enough to overtake me. But I might be able to find some use for what pitiful prejudice you do.
Well, what are you doing to him? Must obey the theater.
Oh, I'm using his racism as a signal sender for myself. Observe as I make everyone in the world as racist as Cass.
I promised him. You can't do this. I'll never serve you, racist, feminist, translucent gorilla.
Oh, at this point, my dear Stan user, you really don't have a choice.
Toy, no. What do you want, you nick? Gotta snap out at my... Oh, you'll always be beneath me, brother, but you might as well make yourself useful. Join me and we'll wipe out the Blueskins together. Brother, ain't we the smallest minority there is?
Silence.
Why, no. Oh no, I had a crush on him because I'm gay, and he's such a bad boy. Julius, fire the super gay sex beam.
Open the silo door! They're coming for us! It's our only way out!
What? But the super gay sex beam is supposed to delete any charge on contact.
I'll see you down there, mate, and while you might have not guessed it, I'm actually something of a high testosterone homosexual myself. I'm not like that cool Cass. Sexism and homophobia only guy rooted his racism.
No wonder he's a feminist. Never had to die a woman. No, Sloth, Cass already tried sexism. You saw that didn't... Don't believe me, no, mate. I'm actually just a hardcore misogynist to the best of times.
Well, you heard him, ain't ya? Now, Shaza, destroy the Tasmanian.
Silo door! They're coming for us! It's our only way out! Open the...
You ripper! Grouse ass! You beauty! Shut the up, Toy! Right. Alright, I can't promise this will work, but...
Open the silo door!
Well, you just earned yourself... You must die! Alright, Shaza, we're done with the theatrics. Use your racism to destroy the last two Tasmanian Tigers. Seriously, boy, and I'm trying to think of the most respectful way to phrase this, but how much longer are you gonna put this off?
Wow, sis! No! The evil is contained, but there's still one thing left to do, Possum.
That's one evil contained. But what I completely forgotten about is his brother. The only translucent gorilla even more prejudicial than him. Sexist Steve.
Next time on Balls. Oh, this is terrible. Boy, who would want me to English eater like this anyway?
For all its flaws and all my harping, Tie is a game that made me a little sad to see the credits roll. And no, not in I can't believe I wasted all that time kind of way. It came out at a time when the giants of the genre were faltering and presented a product that, even if spread a bit thin, was still of higher quality. It introduced a cast of characters with some genuine chemistry that surpasses what series, with literal hundreds of times more hours of content, have managed. It's a genuine bang-up first effort from a studio that barely had experience beyond cheap handheld ports beforehand, and still loves and cherishes it to this day. So how did it end up in this state of disuse? Well, it's definitely not for lack of will nor effort, but it might be someone for putting the cart before the horse. I'd highly recommend this video by YouTuber Amusin' Lewis if you're interested in learning some of the extraneous to downright absurd things Chrome wanted this IP to do. The point is that, unlike a lot of hidden gems that die in obscurity, Tie got its chance. The first title might not have been a chart topper, but it was still a big success. It managed 3 sequels. But despite numerous innovations, upgrades, and gimmicks, it had never adopted either of the two things that make a platformer truly timeless: deep, engaging movement, or tight, intricate level design. And while they'd gradually try a bit harder to create a story in a world with some stakes that someone might care about, well, better to start with an effort like that than to finish with it. Instead of asking, how can we make this first entry the most deep, replayable, narratively absorbent experience our budget will allow, they asked, how can we turn this extremely average collectathon with an above-average charm factor into an empire? What only makes it more tragic is that it nailed nearly everything else a franchise of this nature could possibly need. Now here's the upshot. Neither of those 3-ish things that Tie lacks are particularly expensive. Well, story can be, but it doesn't exactly need to be a blockbuster spectacle. Nor are they flash in the pan, lightning in a bottle, unpredictable X Factors. Heck, Tie's already dripping with X Factor. You don't get 300,000 people to sit down and listen to a cartoon dog glaze your 20-year-old game's ice level without having an X Factor. Could a proper 3D Tie 5 become an indie mega hit in 2024? Absolutely. A cartoon animal platformer with third-person shooter boomerang throwing elements set in a chill Australian outback town will never not be a great concept for a game. Number 1, don't call it Tie 5. Even if the story picks up where we left off, present it as something of a fresh start where knowing series history is an optional bonus. Number 2, put a greater emphasis on movement. I'm not saying it has to have Sonic momentum, but Mario Odyssey would be a good place to look for inspiration. In fact, you know what? Being able to dive after your boomerang would be a pretty neat concept. I know, I'm harping on this a lot, but that's because it is huge. Side note, making Sly and Shaza optional playable characters with a few differences in their physics and movesets would go a long way in adding some variety too. Number 3, accept that you're probably not going to compete with Activision or even Nintendo in terms of presentation at this point. Lean into that 2000s nostalgia and give us a more polished version of how the third game looked with some modern post-processing lighting touches. And hey, if you don't want to settle, which I get, your old games weren't indie, they were on curve if not a bit ahead in ways, the next game doesn't necessarily need to be Tie 5. Make a shorter prototype called something like Tie Bites Back, experimenting with movement and combat across 2 or 3 big levels, upscaling some old models and textures, and release it as a budget title on Steam. In fact, you definitely do something like that first thing first. Get something small in your fans' hands before you worry about securing millions of Australia bucks so you can dump every idea that's been simmering in your head since Tie 4 into a AAA blockbuster.
It's been over a decade since they've gotten to play something wholly original that they haven't already liked for 20 years first, and, well, the most recent attempt wasn't all that well received. Part of that is just that it's 2D, and 2D collectathons aren't really a big thing, but still, it might consider some rethinking of some things. That's all for today, though. Talk at you later, and to everyone at Chrome, best of luck. I'm looking forward to seeing what could come of the setting and formula getting a modernized glow-up, and to seeing the rest of the series so far.